continent was covered with dense, almost impenetrable forests. Oar and sail power still dominated the oceans, and birds ruled the skies. The mountain summits of the Alps were shrouded in solitude and silence. Nights were illuminated by nothing but the light of the moon and stars. Candles, which still cost a fortune, burned in churches and palaces, but not yet in the lowly abodes of ordinary folk. People's lives followed the course of the sun. Things proceeded at a sedate pace. Handicraft was in demand, and apart from mills, manual labour was not yet facilitated by any machines. Hard work, without a doubt, but on a human scale. The world was a placid place, time was not precious, and no one except fugitives from the law was hounded. We are thus confronted with an alien world, and with people whose social and technical knowledge is utterly strange to us, who spoke a now wholly unfamiliar language, and whose entire mode of speech and thought and logic is far removed from our own. We do not share their emotions, we no longer have their skills at our fingertips, their aspirations and plans appear backward to us, and to us modern citizens of the world, who are still grappling with the onset of globalization and its consequences, their values and ethics are virtually meaningless. For instance, no one in the age of Charlemagne wrote or drew caricatures. Instead, both the common people and the ruling elites were in the habit of demonizing all opponents, heretics, or anyone who thought differently. Nor was irony common intellectual currency in this period. One notable feature of the time was the king's claim to exclusive sovereignty over interpretation of the past. This authoritative memory was evident throughout society and yielded to different perceptions and interpretations only in the rarest of cases. As a result, we can open up and present this world only in the vaguest and most hypothetical way. The listener will search in vain for any wide-ranging reflections on methodology in the following audiobook, yet it should be borne in mind that every beginning has its own preamble and starting point, and that every effect generates further effects of its own. Many historians ignore this fact, and take the view that anyone seeking to understand the start of the beginning or the resulting effects must be thinking in teleological terms. But there are whole worlds between cause, effect, and telos. All the same, we have to take into account processes, systematically interacting processes, in which an uncontrollable abundance, either of intertwining coincidences in the environment and society, or of unintentional simultaneity in human activity, produces just as lasting and perhaps even more effective results than any systematic definition of objectives. In retrospect, this result might take on the appearance of something deliberate and planned. I have sometimes, mostly in very different contexts, repeated certain facts where I felt that these would help the listener get his or her bearings. Occasionally I have also, in some instances even without drawing attention to the fact, quoted some earlier works of mine. Conversely, no citations from other sources have been left unattributed except by error. Dates are styled as CE, Common Era, or in the case of the Byzantine chronicler Theophanes, as the year since the creation of the world, the Annus Mundi, or AM. Allusions to the biographer always refer to Einhard and his Life of Charlemagne. MS denotes the holding library's reference number for the manuscript cited. Academic works of secondary literature, indispensable though they are nevertheless generally mentioned in the text only when they are essential to the argument, or when I am swimming against the tide of interpretation and need, however briefly, to explain the reasons I do so. I do not pretend to offer a comprehensive bibliography of works on Charlemagne and his age. For that, the interested listener is referred to two invaluable resources: Rudolf Schiefer's Die Zeit des Karolingischen Großreiches and, albeit focusing on